Hello and welcome back to another special episode of News That You Missed. We're going to be detailing and discussing some very interesting Pokemon leaks that might lead to the Nintendo Switch Pokemon game coming out being actually a red and blue reboot set in a Kanto that is 100 years in the future. If that interests you, please stay tuned. The road to 1 million subscribers begins with you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to be a 1,000,000 subscribed channel, so if you would be so kind, click that subscribe button if you think daily news videos and video game content is your thing. But please, wait till the end of the video to see if I earn that subscription. You can feel free to click it now, but I really do like to earn what I get. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be jumping into the news, and I have two big news stories for today, but I also have another video, so we're going to be breaking this up in two videos. Yes, that's right, we got a scarce double upload going on here today. A double upload! So let's jump right into the first one. This is the Pokemon video that I've been wanting to make, but I've been backed up here. Got a lot of news stories, got a lot of videos, a lot of content to cover. So there's apparently going to possibly be an E3 reveal. This release is going to be slated for the holidays of late 2018. That would be the Nintendo Switch Pokemon game that is to be coming out. We don't even have a trailer yet, let alone gameplay, and not even the starters have been shown off. Nothing's been shown off, so a lot of people are thinking that E3 is going to be where it's going to be at. And a lot of people have stated and looked at leaks and things on 4chan and various forum sites and said, okay, the likelihood is that it's going to look similar to Pokken, but a very watered down version, like an in-between stage because of how many Pokemon there are. So a lot of people have stated there's so many Pokemon it would be very difficult to make an intensely detailed version of every Pokemon model that there possibly is for the game, meaning that it will probably be a reboot similar to the older games, which also means you would only have to put in about 151 Pokemon if you were really going to keep it with the red and blue. You get what I'm saying? So you're with me there, right? It makes a lot of sense. At the same time, this isn't confirmed. Once again, all these leaks, take them with a grain of salt. Midway between the Sun and Moon as well as Pokken graphics is what we're apparently going to be looking at. That's been leaked by two people, one of which claims to be a translator for the game. So, yeah, there you go. That's what the graphics are apparently supposed to look like. We'll see soon enough. Pallet Town was mentioned, though. This is the biggest thing. And apparently it's mentioned in the way where it says hundreds of years ago, this submerged town gave birth to one of the most famous trainers of all time. Its name was Pallet Town. So, Submerged Town. Why would it be submerged? Pallet Town does sit on the seaside, the ocean side. There's definitely water there. Again, 8-bit games, it's not the best for looking at and saying and trying to compare to modern titles, but there it is. So, I guess this would imply that for whatever reason, water has taken over Kanto, maybe? Maybe it's just Pallet Town itself, but it seems kind of crazy that only Pallet Town would be underwater. But I would assume that the Kanto region would mostly be underwater. Perhaps a tsunami, or perhaps Kyogre and Team Aqua actually won in Generation 3. Maybe an alternative universe covered the world with water or something. Who knows? Or perhaps it's just that IGN was right, and it turns out that Pokemon is 7.8 out of 10 too much water. That's never ever going to happen, IGN. Regardless, yeah, it seems that this would lead to a likelihood of a red and blue reboot. But then again, please keep in mind that Trainer Red has shown up in other games. Blue has shown up in other games as well, being referenced in X and Y, Red in Sun and Moon, and also in Pokemon Crystal, you can go to the Kanto region, as well as Gold and Silver, which means it wasn't a reboot, it's just a region that you can visit again. Now, no other game has allowed you to do that since Gold, Silver, and Crystal, but it's a viable option. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It might not necessarily be a reboot, maybe you're just going to visit there. Because while Kanto might be submerged, there's a feature stating that there's going to be an airport in the game, which I would assume there's going to be dry land somewhere to land the planes. I mean, maybe it's a water airport, because they do have water airplanes that can land on water. It's possible, still a bit odd to have, but this would also imply that there's a possibility of you coming from a different region on a plane just to visit that Kanto region, that specific area, for whatever reason. Maybe not, because they do have airports in other Pokemon games, and it doesn't necessarily work that way either. There's a new mechanic revealed that's going to be called Turbo, which stat boosts weaker Pokemon. I don't really understand how that's going to work. Would it stat boost like every weak Pokemon? Is it a held item? Is it just something you can press on like the touchscreen? Or I don't know, man. Could you use it on like a Caterpie to defeat a Pikachu or something? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Again, this is just text we're reading, so we don't have a good example. Apparently, there's also going to be something called the Snake Brothers, one good and one bad, so I have no idea. Maybe they're part of like how they did it in Ultra Sun and Moon, where you had Team Skull, and then you had the Aether Foundation, and there are some bad ones, there are some good ones, and whatever. There's also apparently going to be an evil team building a huge town to attract people away from the villages and empty an island. So, very similar to Sun and Moon, they're trying to get an island emptied so that they can move in there, likely to get something from the island. Perhaps a legendary Pokemon that's submerged underwater. Perhaps they are trying to get to Professor Oak's lab and get Mewtwo, or maybe a different legendary Pokemon like Mew. Who knows? I mean, you could just imagine what you'd like to have going on there. An image has been going around to correlate the story, also saying that in the recent Sun and Moon games, there's a bit of dialogue stated. Imagine using the same Pokemon in your boxes to battle with again after hundreds of years. This would imply a Kanto reboot and explains the underwater Kanto, being 100 years later. So 100 yees later, apparently Kanto's underwater. I don't know. I personally think it sounds more similar to Pokemon Bank, because the service, if it's still running 100 years from now, which I don't think it will be, but if it is, then that's exactly what you could do. You could play Pokemon with the Pokemon that were used 100 years ago, or at least your grandchildren. I mean, if you're able to live 100 years plus and still play games effectively, good on you, but most people can't do that. Finally, there were people discussing how no main Pokemon games were ever announced at E3. Meaning that even though all of this seems to be leading towards E3, if we are going to be getting info on this Nintendo Switch Pokemon game, the pattern would dictate that no, it won't be at E3. And E3 is apparently taking place June 12th to June 14th. Things can change, but yeah, the leaker has stated that the translation team has been moved to an international website, which means that the site is gearing up for the change to the Pokemon game, which again would imply that it's not going to be shown at E3. If anything at all, this game is likely to be shown at a different point in time, because once again, if you're going to have Nintendo promoting something, which is they are definitely going to be promoting Splatoon 2 with their tournament, they're going to be promoting the online service because of Splatoon 2, and they're going to be promoting Smash Brothers without question. So to sit there and say that, yeah, they're going to do another massive reveal with Pokemon, that's kind of silly, because that would take steam away from the Splatoon 2 reveal, and the Pokemon reveal would remove all the steam from every other game. Even though Smash Brothers is massive, if they revealed Pokemon, whenever they reveal it, it will be in every news outlet, it will be trending on Twitter, it will overshadow basically everything, because a lot of people are foaming at the mouth for Pokemon on the Switch, whether you like it or not, whether you're into Pokemon or not. You might not even be into Pokemon, but that is exactly what is going to happen. So I don't see Nintendo revealing them at E3, revealing any information, any details. If anything, it'll likely be closer to the release date, which, if it's going to be this December, I mean, they would have probably already revealed it a year in advance to get a lot of people excited for it. Who knows? I don't work at Nintendo. I'm just throwing out theories and ideas there, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. That's the Pokemon leak news. Take it all with a grain of salt. I'm not confirming any of it, but I do think it's very, very interesting that Kanto would be underwater. Very, very strange. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave me a big like and share this video with everyone you know, especially Pokemon fans. And as always, road to 1,000,000 subscribers. Please click that subscribe button and click that alert bell if you want to know when I upload my videos. You could always donate on Patreon to get my videos a day early, but that's up to you as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out, and I hope to see you guys back here in the next episode of News That You Missed.